Hey everybody, it's Mark Dawes here, and it's a beautiful day, so I'm out doing this video. So if you hear a bit of wind noise or some traffic, forgive me. I'm in a beautiful field, as you can see, out in nature. I love being in nature. But I wanted to do this video because I put out a blog post the other day, and it was about a woman who's suing her martial arts coach in the academy for £40,000 for an injury she sustained during training. And that's been, some of the comments have been quite interesting, because people are saying, well, if you're going to take part in something like Muay Thai, which is a combat sport, then you need to accept the injuries you get. And that's true up to a point. But I've been involved in a number of these cases in the past as an expert witness. And one case I was involved in indirectly was someone who came to me because someone, of course, alleged that he'd done a double-handed shove on her, push, strike, whatever, and it caused her to whiplash her neck. And the initial claim she was going for was in the £20,000 mark. I think it was about 24, if I remember correctly. But the claim eventually went up to £400,000. That's a lot of money. Now, he fought this claim because he said, look, I didn't do it, and he was a straight guy, he was a decent guy. And he said, there's no way on earth I did that. But here's the thing. It's not whether you win or lose the claim that's the issue. It's the stress that it causes you. And that guy didn't work again. He closed his company down. It had major financial implications for him and his family, of course. In another case I was involved with, a lady turned up for a course put on by her local authority, a self-defense course. And she turned up in a pair of shoes with heels. And the instructor said, look, you really shouldn't be wearing shoes with heels on this type of course. You need to have trainers or that sort of thing. And she said, well, this is what I wear to work. And if you can't train me what I wear to work, then you're not very good. So the trainer's got her to sign a disclaimer that she would accept responsibility if she got injured whilst wearing heels. And at one point during the course, they were testing her defensive stance, and she was stood there, and they pushed her, and she stumbled backwards because she lost balance, hit the wall, hit her head on the wall, then hit the floor, and she sued. Now, she sued her local authority, not the training company, because she went to a solicitor who said, well, your local authority is liable for bringing these trainers in. And she won her case. Now, I can't remember what the settlement was, but the local authority then went to sue the training company, and the training company went into liquidation, and they couldn't get any money out of them. Now, the issue here, when I put this post up about this lady who's suing for £40,000, some of the comments were, well, surely it depends on whether or not the force used by the instructor was excessive. Not the case in a civil claim for damages. They're working on the balance of probabilities here. So in other words, was the injury caused by the instructor who took a certain action that damaged the claimant? And if that can be proved, then there's a case. But if I was an expert witness on this case, I would be asking to see certain documentation. I'd want to see the club's policies and procedures. I'd want to see the risk assessments. I'd want to see the medical review of the techniques. I'd want to see what the coach's qualifications are. And that includes the qualifications and competencies of the person that did the risk assessment. Because all too often we see risk assessments done by people who have no idea of how to do a risk assessment because they've never been on a training course or they've never been mentored in how to do them. And I would say probably, and I'm happy, Travell, if you're watching this, you comment on this, my friend, and Eric, please do as well. Probably about 90-odd%, if not more, of cases get settled out of court when it comes to that issue, that very one issue. So why am I telling you all this? Well, if you're a martial arts instructor, or you're a physical training company, you're a coach, you teach self-defense and physical restraint, the most important thing you need is documentation and the competencies to know what you're doing. Now, if you come to train with us on our self-defense instructors course or on our restraint instructors course, and in fact, I'm going to do this on the CQC course on the 20th of August as well, we give you all of the documentation you need to deliver your training and evidence your training that it is done in a competent and safe way. And that means you are protected more than if you didn't have that documentation if someone put a claim in against you. Now, that's really, really important, do you not think? So, how much is all this documentation worth? Well, in one case, it's probably worth £40,000. In another case, it's probably worth £400,000 because it's relative to how much you could potentially get sued for. But everyone who trains with me knows, all my trainers know, documentation is key. It is absolutely crucial and critical, because people have 3 years to bring a claim. Now, if you can't remember what happened 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, you've got a problem. If you've got clear, documented evidence that you followed safe procedures, that no one was injured, and you can present that to your solicitor or to the court if you're being sued or threatened with legal action, you're in a much, much stronger position. And let's face it, all of us, we all get involved in this industry because we genuinely, I believe, want to help people. Well, you've got to help yourself first. It's like if you're on a flight, when the oxygen masks drop or you get the brief, they tell you to put your mask on first before you help anyone else. If you're a trainer, a martial arts instructor, you need to help yourself first, because you may be a genuinely good person with a lot to offer, but if you don't offer it, because you can't offer it because you're being sued for a ridiculous amount of money, so you've got to close your business, then the world's a less better off place of not having you there. Now, if you're not coming on these courses, I am going to put an offer out. Actually, I normally only give this documentation to people who train with us, but I'm going to put an offer out shortly, and I'm going to offer the documentation to anyone, and it will be at a stupid price, trust me. And if you're thinking, well, why am I doing this? I genuinely want to help you. Yeah, that's all it is. All right, speak to you soon.